Beyond Reach podcast gives the voice to brand, athletes, organizations in the outdoor space industry. Through open conversation, you're going to discover their stories, their successes and challenges, but also their vision. Welcome to the podcast.
All right. Hi there. Welcome to the Beyond Reach podcast, where we dive deep into the world of sports and the great outdoors. Today's guest is the true force in the stand-up paddle industry, with over a decade of experience shaping the sport in Canada and beyond. From founding a successful SUP company in 2011 to coaching over 1,000 paddlers and a Canadian distributor for Infinity SUP, his impact on the sport is undeniable. Now the president and CEO of Paddle Fit, he's combined his deep fitness background with his passion for paddling to help others reach their potential on and off the water. Please welcome our guest today, Brent Ackland. How's it going, Brent?
Good. How are you?
Good. Or should I say, what's up?
What's up? Good.
My little joke.
What's up? I use that all the time, actually. What's up? Yeah.
It's great, right? Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Oh, goodness. I am so excited that we're here to talk about stand-up paddleboarding. I actually bought a paddleboard probably 2 years ago now.
Nice.
And it's a good workout. It's a really good workout. And I think what's interesting is it's becoming so popular, over the last decade, but it goes back quite a bit, right?
It goes back really far. You're probably close to 20 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. I actually Googled it.
Did you?
Before we jumped on, I was like, I wonder how long it's been around.
I think they really kind of started in I think it was the mid to 2005, 6, 7.
Oh my goodness.
First started playing with it out in Hawaii.
Oh, in Hawaii. Well, that makes sense because they're they're surfing all the time on boards.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hawaii, that kind of makes sense with the birth there, right?
There was a whole crew of Laird Hamilton and Dave Kalama, those guys that people have no idea who they are now, but they kind of started it back in the day, playing around with paddles on paddle boards and then taking their kids on it.
Yeah, I know. It's wild. You can just, I think what's really cool is it's been evolving and reshaping,
really
over the years, right? So that's been really cool to see the progression and that diversity it's become, right? There's you can just go and have a nice leisure paddle. You can go and there's yoga, but then there's professional. Yeah, no, you can go and you can race, right?
Well, there's still a lot of work on that, but it's getting there.
It's coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you can you tell me what was your inception of paddleboarding?
So I've been into water sports since I was 4. My dad gave me the choice of you can stay in your room or go learn to water ski at 4. So 3 days later, I could water ski. And then that just kind of translated everything on the water we've done, from wakeboarding, wake surfing, slalom skiing. And I was reading a book in the early 2000s or mid 2000s about this paddleboarding. And I'm like, I haven't tried that. And then the fitness aspect was in the book. And I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. So it was just another add-on to all the water sports I'd done over the years. And then it kind of exploded into a whole business.
So you've always been a water fish.
I've been a water kid. Yeah. We had pools and cottages, and grew up in Muskoka. And it was basically on the boat, behind the boat, doing some kind of water sports. Yeah.
That's amazing. It really is a blessing because, not everyone lives close to water, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
Even myself, I grew up water skiing too. And people are just water skiing? What? What's that?
Well, you kind of got to have a boat. You got to have a lot of stuff for that. But yeah.
Yeah, you do need a lot of stuff for sure. So, you did mention your business. So it started at a young age with passion for water. And it kind of grew into a business. Tell us a bit about that.
So I was actually a partner in a financial planning firm, suit and tie, going to the office 9 to 5.
What?
Yeah. And I found this sport kind of one summer. And then I was going to visit my parents, who spend 6 months of the year in Florida as snowbirds. And I looked up Brody Welty and his company Paddle Fit, because I'm like, I gotta get some like help with this. Like somebody show me how to do it. So I met him, I think it was the spring of 2010 or could be 2009.
Wow.
And I wanted to go paddleboarding. And he's like, when you get down to your parents, give me a call. We'll figure it out. Cause he had this whole business going. And I met him and he's like, come see me at Starbucks. I'm like, Starbucks. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I sat with him in Starbucks because it was like 16 degrees and kind of rainy in Florida in
Yeah.
February or something. And he's like, yeah, nobody wants to paddle today. And I was like, I'm from Canada. Like, yeah, let's paddle. And he being from Michigan kind of could relate. But so we ended up sitting there talking about his story and how he created a certification called Paddle Fit that day. And so he had run one certification. He's like, you got to come back for the next one. I'm like, okay. So I ended up going back to Florida in April and taking his second ever certification. And
Wow.
fast forward, there's a whole bunch we can get to, but now I'm the president and CEO of that company from
Woo!
16
And that
years ago,
that
15 years ago.
was that recent? That was
That was this year.
yeah, congrats.
This year I took that over in January. Brody's still involved, but lives change. He's got three
Yeah,
kids that are really doing well in hockey, so he's doing all of that. He just doesn't have the
yeah,
time to run day to day. And I've been with him since the beginning, and there's a whole transition through
yeah.
that from learning in 2010 and then taking the next level in 2012. And this how the story goes is I had kind of quit my job in 2012 and decided I'm going to run this fitness paddleboard thing. And so I showed
Yeah.
up to the next level when he'd moved out to California and said, hey, well, I quit my day job. I'm all in. And he's like, no way. Like, do you want to be a certification coach? I'm like, okay. So then
Yeah.
I started coaching because I'd been with him running his program for like 2 years. And
Mhm.
like it just seemed like the natural progression. And that was 2012.
Oh my goodness, that's quite like you were just like one day you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna throw my
Well,
passion into this.
so after taking the certification in 2010, Brody helped me hook up with some people to get some paddle boards. And it's like, yeah, you could probably run a business in Ontario because even in Florida, we think it's nice. They don't go in the water for 4 months,
Right.
5 months of the year because it's too cold for them.
Right.
So deciding to do that, I did both for 2 years. I would go to the office 7:30 to 12:30, come home,
Yeah.
get rid of the suit, throw the shorts on, go to the beach. And after
Mhm.
2 years, I thought, I don't see myself doing this for the next 20 years.
Mhm.
So kind of sold off my stuff to my partner and said, okay, I'm out. Let's do a transition over, 4 or 5 months. And then
Yeah.
2013 was full-time paddleboarding.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what has been like has there been some like big challenges? What's the big challenges facing you in scaling Northern SUP, over the years?
The big challenge at first was you can't really run a service coaching business in Canada
Right.
and make a living, like a decent living out of it. So
Right.
I kind of
So
quickly realized that I got to do something other than that. And I've always had a sales background. So I
mhm.
hooked up with a board company and started doing retail sales. And
Yeah.
that was kind of like, oh, okay. You combine those two with coaching, your local clients, as well as doing certification coaches for Brody, which kind of
Mhm.
starts in February. And we would travel to Costa Rica and Turks and Caicos and do stuff off season.
Right.
You combine all that, it's
Mhm.
really the board sales that kind of allowed it to happen. But the best part, the most fun is the coaching.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So coaching business on one side, coaching on the other.
Yep.
It's winter too, so that's kind of what you mentioned too. You can't really do a business that's up
Not
in
the
the winter,
coaching
right?
part, but the sales part, because I'm selling to
Right.
surf shops all kind of across Canada.
Mhm.
And the sales cycle for them is they order like October, November for the
Okay.
following spring. So we're kind of busy October, November putting orders together. December is usually the slow month, although
Mhm.
you can sometimes get some Christmas presents and that kind of stuff that'll pick
Yeah.
up. And then kind of mid-January is where it starts picking up because people start going, okay, I want to get certified. I want to have a job teaching somewhere. And then we run adventure camps in February in Turks and Caicos. And then you roll
Okay.
right into, your season certification before that. And our season here starts May. So you got May
Wow.
May to October,
Yeah.
where you're coaching, and the whole coaching aspect has changed from beginner to now, like you said, pro level
Hmm.
aspirations and technique.
Wow. So you're mostly are you mostly paddling? I mean, sorry, not coaching with paddle fit right now, or are you doing it kind of both sides?
No, I've always kind of paddle fit really is we've always had a little thing like people think of paddle fit as like it's going to be this fitness on the water. There
Yeah.
is a portion to that, but the real thing that I loved about paddle fit was the technique progression that it
Mhm.
gives you. It's really a SUP coaching system as opposed to
Okay.
paddle fit. Where it came from is Brody created a class called paddle
Mhm.
fit where you're doing like, burpees on the water and then in and out and then from there he just named it that way. So one of the things
Okay.
we've always struggled a little bit with was the name because I've
Mhm.
taken I think 5 different certifications. The
Oh
PAL
my goodness.
Canada, WSPA, they all have certain things that you can learn from them. Most of them are like a beginner intro kind of level teaching paddleboarding, whereas paddle fit
Mhm.
has a progression. Like we basically go up to level 4. And so
Okay.
you can take someone who is a pro and go, all right, we got to take you through our progression. You might go really quickly through the early parts and then
Mhm.
always tweak on something with the technique that you learn from paddle fit over
Okay.
probably 4 levels.
So are all those levels like different classes? Like if I
Yeah.
came in as an amateur,
Yeah.
I would start up at like level 1 and then
So
progress, right?
right. So the paddle fit is if you want to be that coach. So you'd take paddle fit core and you'd
Okay.
basically be able to
Yeah.
take someone who'd never been able to paddle before and
Yeah.
kind of get them to uh, comfortable on the water and maybe an early intermediate level. Then we have the
Oh.
next level, which is pro, which I like to say is 3, that you take
Mhm.
that paddler from an intermediate level up to an advanced level with
Yeah.
more teaching cues and drills. And then our level 4 and above is where you're taking that advanced paddler and getting them into shaving their seconds off in a pro level. And we have more
Okay.
drills and techniques to use at that level. So it's a big
Ooh.
progression.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that seems like a lot of work, but it sounds really cool that you have those different progressions, right? Because not everyone's
Yeah.
at the same level, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do you love the most about coaching? Like what?
Really, I love the most is teaching that kind of advanced and up level.
Mhm.
People that are really invested in the sport, they wanna get better, and that's my favorite part, although
Yeah.
every once in a while, I still like to jump into an intro class because
Right.
you see somebody that's never been able to stand on water and you teach them to get up and they can kind of move around and they're like,
Mhm.
"Whoa, this is so cool." It's like that feeling of surfing, even though you're
Yeah.
not surfing, you're still standing on water. And that's
Right.
really what I think most people find that exhilaration of stand-up paddleboarding. Once you stand on the water on your board, whether you go
Yeah.
out with, some beverages and hang out at the sandbar or you go for a little paddle
Mhm.
after work chatting with your friend. It's that feeling that you get. You can take it to the next level of like, I want to race and I want to surf and I want to do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what I like, tweaking those people and
Mhm.
helping them progress there. But it's that kind of, wow, I just stood on water and that was like the coolest thing ever. And my life is so changed.
It is really cool. It's really cool to be like, "Oh, you're staying on water." Well, it's similar to what you said. I read something online that says, that you said it's a lifestyle, right? Like,
It's, yeah.
it really is a lifestyle. It's making it doesn't matter if you wanna go, high
Yeah.
advanced levels. You
Yeah.
can stay like me and just be on the water and loving the water and love standing and get good exercise too if you want, right? Because
For
it
sure.
is. I feel it in my legs. I feel it in my core. I'm like, "Okay, we almost."
So
Yeah.
talking about the exercise, it's
Mhm.
once you get to that intermediate and advanced level,
Yeah.
everyone thinks that, I was paddleboarding and I got all this core. It's really not a core exercise until you learn to paddle properly.
Oh, really?
Even
Okay.
though you're thinking it is, if you look at
Yep.
all of the science behind it and you track calories and all that stuff, you're not.
Okay.
It's like going
Okay.
for a stroll down the thing
Yeah.
until you start getting the proper paddle technique that incorporates
Mhm.
basically from knees to shoulders. Most people are
Okay.
like this, and that's my biceps and triceps, and that's about
Right.
it.
Like, you gotta, like, really bend down
Yeah, if I
make
could
to
stand
get
up,
that
kind of
core.
like a a rotation, a hinge, and it really, once you start incorporating that,
Mm,
whether you race or not, it's just making it more of that kind of workout for you. And you don't have to
mhm.
get fast to do that. You can get
Yeah.
really slow and still do that correct technique, but you're
Okay.
much more efficient.
Okay, I need to take your class so I can get fit with my
Yeah,
paddleboard.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, okay, I love that. Yeah, no, I've watched like, racing and I'm like, I definitely see what you're getting at. Like they're really putting their whole body into it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Um, okay, well, keeping on
Okay.
the side of business, I know you were talking about Northern SUP, but we
Yeah.
talked a little bit about coaching.
Yeah.
Um, you are also we talked about, selling boards. So, um, you said you were the Canadian distributor for Infinity
Yeah.
SUP. Um, tell us how you got into that a little bit. How'd that kind of begin? I know you
Yeah.
mentioned it a little bit
That's
earlier, but
there's also cool little stories that connect later on in life. But
yeah.
I was working for another company for I worked for like two or three, but before that I was working for Jimmy Lewis, who's another higher
Oh,
end
yeah.
brand that was had a
Mhm,
local distributor here in Wasaga Beach, and I was their
mhm.
sales guy.
Nice.
But every time I would go out to California to work with Brody and Paddle Fit, Brody was kind of the team coach for the Infinity team, and
Mhm.
Dave Bainey, who you interviewed, I think, before, would
Yeah,
always have a
great guy.
board for me and be like, "Hey, here, we got a board." And they were like, just such a great family and amazing. And we had kind of chatted back then. They were only doing custom SUP boards. And so we didn't really have that market. And
Right.
then how it happened was the sort of my partner here in Canada was kind of done with everything. He was retiring and
Mhm.
decided he wasn't going to distribute the boards anymore. And did I want to do it? And long story short, that didn't really work out. But Dave was like, "Hey, we're looking for a Canadian distributor." I'm like, "Perfect."
Mhm.
The guy I was working for just decided to retire, and we're not doing that. So in 2017, right after they started making production boards, it made more sense to start bringing them in here. So that's
Yeah,
put that deal together. And since then, I've been kind of, all over the place with Dave. We've had a really good, successful pro team that
amazing.
I've had the blessing of being around a lot. And the products are amazing. And
Yeah,
the best part about it is like it's still like a family run business. It's not a big conglomerate like some of the other ones. And
yeah,
you really feel like you're part of the crew.
yeah, David's really great, he's really down to earth.
Yeah.
It's,
Like so
yeah,
down to earth.
yeah, even when you're talking to him, you feel like you're his best friend.
And
It's good.
even his mom and dad, you ever go to the shop, like his dad just sits down and tells stories forever. And it's like, yeah,
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool. And on top of it, trying to take the bias out, I think there's some of
Mhm.
the fastest boards,
Yeah.
great shapes because we have a shaping booth out there, and Dave can go out with the riders and tweak boards and get their
Mhm.
designs done or the faster.
Yeah, they really care. They really care about
Yeah,
their boards, and you can tell that when you're talking to them,
yeah.
and
It's a big pride. It's family pride for sure. They got a statue
yeah,
unveiled
yeah.
last year about them, and like his mom and dad are almost like surf royalty.
Oh, amazing. Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad you landed with them. That's really cool.
yeah.
Um, I guess I wanted to mention Speed Freaks too, because I think they're really cool. Can you tell us kind of a bit about them
So
and your
that's basically
involvement
our
there?
our pro team. And Dave,
Right,
I don't know where Dave came up with the name Speed Freaks, but
right.
yeah, that's just kind of like that's the whole kind of Infinity team all over the world, and we've just
Yeah,
added some really great European riders and South
yeah.
American riders, and even I think we got people over in Japan
Oh
and
man.
Europe and Italy, and yeah, Dave just you know kind of finds the ones that fit the brand,
Mhm. Yep.
right? And then go out and you have fun and win races. But the Speed Freaks, it's super cool. We just finished the one of the world championships last year in
Mhm.
November, and it was the
Yeah.
first time it was in North America. So we had a
Amazing.
really big presence because getting all the gear and stuff to Florida, and I think
Yeah.
everyone just kind of came and whether you were on another team, you still kind of hung out with the Speed Freaks at our trailer. We just
Yeah.
have so much fun. Serious
That
race, have so much fun too.
that must be hard, like, traveling with your board all the time because 'cause they're
Yeah,
big
I don't do
boards,
a lot of
right?
it, but talking to them, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a little easier over in Europe. Things are, but like
Mhm.
this year, one of the world championships is in Dubai. And
Oh,
like, as
wow.
cool as that's going to be to go in November, I have no idea
Wow.
how we're getting boards. And I'm like, good luck with that. I'll see you guys. Next year is in Italy, and we have a distributor in Italy.
Oh,
Sorry.
perfect.
And then it's back in Florida. So
Yeah.
exotic locations are cool, but yeah, traveling with 14-foot boards is the
Yeah.
easiest thing to do.
Yeah, they're long and
A
long
lot, a
board.
lot of people don't even take them. A lot of
Yeah.
like airlines don't even take them. So I don't know how they do that. I stay out of that part.
Good luck, eh? Well,
Yeah, happy to
good luck
show
with
up. I
that.
could drive there, or
Yeah.
go to California area where Dave can drive there, or northeastern US, driving around, but like anything flying. See it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The logistics we'll leave up to them.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. I did want to talk a little bit about boards.
Sure.
Just because I'm curious myself, to be honest. I know there's a lot of boards on the market. I know you work for a really great board company. But like just like could you give us some tips on like if you are, in our audience and you're
Mhm.
wanting to start paddleboarding. Maybe you're like a learner board. Or maybe you're looking to level up. You have a board and you want to get a level up or challenge
Yeah,
yourself.
for sure.
Yeah, where do you start?
So there's really, I guess you'd call them four main types of boards. So you've
Yeah.
got inflatable boards, which have just flooded the market since the
COVID.
COVID times. Really, it's COVID. Now, at first I thought, oh, this is kind of cool, but then
Mhm.
we'll get into why it's really not. But then you have what's called like all around sort of intro boards. They look like surfboards. Okay. They look like oversized.
Okay.
Then you
Yeah.
get into a touring board, which has got a little bit more of a point, kind of like shaped a little bit more like a boat, kind of cuts through the water. And then
Yeah.
you got your kind of race boards. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if I can explain it into something that I know everybody understands is bike.
Okay.
Okay. You got a
Okay.
beach cruiser, right?
Mhm.
Then you got your kind of like, just touring bike or whatever. Then you've got a mountain bike. Then you've got a road bike.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I really like to teach in Palafit is you get what you pay for. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Quality.
people are going and buying that stuff from Costco,
Mhm.
I know people say, well, okay, one inflatable, another inflatable, they should be the same. They really aren't. It's what
Mhm.
the boards are made of, the rubber they're made of, whether it's got stitching inside. So,
Mhm.
not that there's anything wrong with them, just
Mhm.
understand that if you're paying $400 or $500 for an inflatable board,
Yeah.
you're not getting some, I kind of call it like a kid's toy, right?
Yeah.
You're never
Quality.
gonna go someone who really wants a good product isn't gonna go to Costco
Mhm.
for your golf clubs, for your hockey skates, for your hockey sticks, for your bicycles. You're gonna go to that shop.
Yeah.
So I would try to suggest people go out and rent or find somebody that rents. So then you can kind of decide what you like and
Mhm.
avoid that. Oh, I'm going to buy a $400, $500, $600 board. As soon as you paddle it, it doesn't perform the way you want. So then you got to go buy the kind of board you were saying, like, oh, I just got an
Mhm.
intro board. Try to get
Mhm.
something in the middle. I'm not saying hit up that race board, but if you get, I say the best board to start with is a touring board. And they run
Okay.
from 1200 to 4,000, right?
Right.
And
Wow.
it's all based on fiberglass or um, carbon. The more expensive
Mhm.
the material, the more the board's going to go. But you want something that's going to have glide,
Right.
regardless of whether you want to paddle for 10 kilometers or you want to go out and float. Okay.
Mhm.
Those four boards that I just sort of told you about. Okay. One paddle stroke on a race board would be probably 8 paddle strokes on an inflatable, kind of
Right.
5 to 6
Mhm.
on a all around, and maybe
Mhm.
3 to 4 on a touring board. So
Okay.
I've got a lot of clients that like the race boards, and I'm hesitant to
Mhm.
use race. They're just, it's like going out and buying a road bike. You're not going to go on a bicycle race, but you want the bike that's going to go the fastest down the road.
Mhm. Yeah.
So they'll go to that. It's also as you get up into different boards and you pay a little bit more, they're lighter. So loading and
Mhm.
unloading and moving them around,
Yeah.
it's all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying you need a 5,000. I'm not saying you need
Right.
a $100 board, but just make
Mhm.
sure you understand that you are getting what you pay for. So
Mhm.
if a board's, in that $1,000 to $2,000 range as an intro level all around board or touring board, that's a
Mhm.
pretty decent board. If you're looking at a four, five, six, $700 board, it's fun for the kids to play around.
Mhm.
Not going to have a lot of durability to it. Probably
Yeah.
not going to last that long. So that's sort of what I try to
Yeah.
teach. And what I really tell people to do is probably like, oh, I just bought, go try them first.
Mhm.
My company, you can try all four of those boards. I got people
Yeah.
I want to come and spend $400 because that's the sport. I'm going to spend $600, and then they leave with a $4,000 board because you don't know until you're like, no, that's what I want to feel. Right?
True. It's like testing out a new car. You gotta test out
Right.
the board too.
Exactly. Like you're like, I need a really economical car. It's going to get me from A to B, and I don't care how fast it is. And you go buy a
Mhm.
Ferrari. Well, that's no good. Or you go buy a truck that costs you
Mhm.
3 times the amount of gas, and it's super slick.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're not buying the car because it's red.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that gives a good idea of kind of what you want, right? Like if you're just going for
Yeah.
something a couple
Go and
times a
try
year,
first.
yeah,
Try
try.
before you buy it, and, then you know what you're getting. Lift them up, play with them.
Good.
A lot of the shops around, they don't have that, whereas
Mhm.
Northern SUP, I've always been one that it's like, I've got kind of a fleet of demo boards, and
Mhm.
let's go meet you on the beach. I charge you kind of a rental fee, but I bring 8 boards, you spend an hour, and if you buy, the rental fee comes off of that.
Yeah, no, it's a good selling feature, and it's good for people to, come and trust the product that they're buying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because
So,
it's hard to know. They're
yeah,
sitting in a shop, standing up 14 feet tall or 10 feet tall. You're like, which
yeah.
one's gonna be good for me?
Which one? I don't know. Yeah, you're so right. We need more people like you. We can go and try
Yeah,
the
that's
boards
sort of what
out.
one of the reasons why I never ended up having a actual shop. I've debated it
Mhm.
back and forth. It's like, no, I'd rather do it where come and meet me. I've got a couple locations that I work out of.
Yeah.
It's easy to meet there and try the boards, and I outsold the surf shop probably 10 to
Mhm.
1.
Mhm. And are the good ones like the more expensive ones? Are they made out of like fiberglass? Is that what is it? What kind of
Yeah,
material?
so with the exception of an inflatable, which we know is air,
Right. Yes.
all the other ones start with a foam core. And then it's
Okay.
what you put around that foam core that makes it more durable, lighter and all that stuff. But the
Mhm.
foam core does make a difference. So it's
Right.
what that foam core is that also goes into your price point. But if you
Mhm.
break the outer shell and get
Mhm.
water in there, it comes a basically a boat anchor.
Uh-oh.
So those are some of the things to think about when you're in that mid-level, like, oh, carbon's
Mhm.
very strong. It's gonna,
Mhm.
not crack as easy. Don't hit rocks. Think of it
Mhm.
like a car. You don't wanna hit rocks. You don't wanna hit anything like that. As long as you take care of it, it's gonna be fine. But again, it goes to what that foam core is and the
Mhm.
layers you put around it to make it its shape.
And probably like longevity too. It will last
For
you
sure.
years, right?
Yep.
Where something
Yep.
like a cheap inflatable one, or it's only gonna last you a couple of years maybe.
Yeah, if that. Like, sometimes these
Yeah,
ones that I see now are, like, so cheap, but you put them out, there's been, like,
crazy.
occasions where it's the glue that they use, and all of a sudden it pops in
Mm,
the middle of the lake.
yeah,
There's so
yeah,
many recalls on the Costco stuff that it's not quality
yeah. Go for
material
quality. Go for quality, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
just not necessarily, just understand what you're buying. If
Mhm.
your inflatable lasts for the season and it's like popped or the glue's no good or whatever, like, okay, I only paid $400 for it. A
Yeah.
decent board, you should be around 15
Mhm.
to kind of start. And then it's, do I
Okay.
want to get into racing and stuff like that? Anything kind of in that 1,000 and under,
Mhm.
it's not going to last you all that long.
Okay. Those were good tips. I appreciate it because I could use a new board someday. So that's
Come
really
and
good.
try some.
Really good to know. Really good to know. So I know you love to give advice and
Yeah.
you are a wealth of knowledge. What would you say to someone out there that is looking to break into the sub business, like what you're doing, or even retail wise? What's the advice?
I would say get educated.
Okay.
There's so many people that come and think, oh, I
Yeah.
can do this. Take a certification,
Mm.
and you can't really sell or do something you don't live yourself. I've seen so many people like, oh, I want to teach racing. Do you race? Like, well, how are you going to teach? Oh, I want to teach like high level paddleboarders. Are you a high level paddle? And
Yes.
not being mean or anything, but it's like you gotta live what you want to do for it to be authentic, and that's going to translate over into how you run your whole business. So be immersed in it, live it and get educated. Like a good certification or fitness, like I've got a CrossFit certification, a CamFit Pro certification off the water, as well as basically level 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it. And I've taken every other one just to know, like, what are they going to teach you? Like, you're always going to learn something, no matter what certification you do. But I would tell people to go, if you really want to be a coach, get something that's going to give you a coaching progression, as opposed to safety and fun is good, but that only gets you the people that want to try it, and then they're good. They don't ever want to progress to the tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. You have to know your stuff, whatever business you're in, right? So
That's the
I
biggest thing.
agree with you. And it's always evolving, and you recertifying and doing all of those training, it just shows that people that come to you trust you, right? And they know that you know your stuff.
And it's our paddle fit certification and community is huge. Like, we've got an online group where someone asks a question about a business, and you got 10 people that are running businesses all over the world giving you advice.
I love it.
So that's all part of what you get when you take a quality certification. Like, a lot of the other ones are there for safety, which is very important, right? But that's all they're kind of there to do. Make sure you're on the water, make sure you're safe, and then see you later. Thanks for coming. Whereas we're a community that keeps going.
Yes. So aside from coaching and giving great advice to everyone, what is like, you paddle yourself, obviously. What do you have, like, a story of like a challenging paddle that you had?
How many?
How many? Just pick one.
There's been a number of challenging paths.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you this one.
Okay.
It's kind of it's almost like a cult race now. It's called the
Yeah.
Chattajack. Okay, so it's a 31 point something mile or 50-kilometer paddle, and
Okay.
it's actually pretty cool. If you have to be up May 1st at midnight, or it's going to sell out by like 2 in the morning.
Oh,
And they
wow.
have 500 to 800 people in it. So you start this race and you paddle 50 kilometers down the Tennessee River in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. I think the 8.5 hours is the cutoff time, and you're done. You have to pass a certain point. I think it's 10 miles in 2.5 hours. If not, they pull you off.
Okay.
But so that was, I never really wanted to do it. Then I had somebody that was coaching saying they were going to do this race back in 2015 or 2016. And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to coach it, I guess I better do this. So I sign up and do it too. And so I remember doing it, and I had kind of goals in my mind where I wanted to be and at certain times, and it was going great. Like, I'm paddling down this river, like right on, got all my stuff, and
Right.
going down the one, and the river winds a little bit, and I'm kind of looking, I'm like, what is that on the water that I see? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like waves around the next. So,
Oh, crap.
the further I get close, the wind sort of picked up, and there's waves that are probably 3 feet high, chop coming down.
Shoot.
I'm like, oh my God. And that was about mile 22-ish.
Wow, so you still
So
had
there's
ways
still
to
like,
go.
9, 10 miles to go. But I'm like, okay, suck it up, because you're going up a river that's going like this, then it's going to go like this, and then you're going to go here, and the finish is down here. So I'm on this.
Okay.
So I'm getting up, and I'm suffering through the waves, a lot of people were like falling, and you had to go across the other side. And I was like, right on. Like, I have a little
Yeah.
on my board that was telling me how fast. I'm like, I'm going super slow, but I'm still going forward. I just
Yeah.
need to get around that corner because the
Oh.
wind is coming this way, and I'll go this way. So I remember getting around the corner, and I'm paddling. I'm like, I'm still going into the wind. Okay, this is really starting to suck. But I'm like, okay, just get around the other corner, because then the wind should be pushing me. No, it was just, because
No.
we're in a valley, and
Yeah.
I'm coming around the corner, and I'm like, how am I going into the wind
Oh
still
my goodness.
when I've gone 180 degrees? But it just, the way it
Yeah.
was. And so at that point, I'm like, this is the dumbest sport ever. Stop paddling. I'm standing up, and you can see the finish of the race is like 3 kilometers away, the longest
Oh no.
kilometers ever.
Oh no.
And then it's like, I'm in Tennessee and I'm looking at the valley. This is super cool.
Wow. And there's no boats like with you or anything.
Yeah, there's safety
There
boats and
is
stuff.
safety
Like,
boats.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's
Okay.
safety boats and there's people
Good.
and like there's other paddlers around. You're
Yeah.
kind of in your own zone, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm not hurt. I'm just like, this is exhausting. I'm at like mile 28 or 29. But at the end, they give you a chocolate milk
Oh,
when
nice.
you finish. So there's a couple things at the end. It's a little different now, and I remember thinking, that's it. I'm done with this. Standing up, paddling like I've never paddled before. And it's like, okay, get your head right. You can either finish these 2 kilometers in like
Mhm.
the next 20 minutes, half an hour, or you can mess around and take 2 hours to do this. Like, just finish it.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. You kind of get back into it. And then there's a marshal as you come around the corner, and then there's a
Mhm.
300-meter dock. There's a
Okay.
finish line right here. You go through the finish line, a 300-meter dock. And so you're like 3 feet away from all these cheering people. And
Yeah.
as they come around, the marshal's like, okay, are you ready to sprint? I'm like, well, I've been sprinting for like the last hour because the last one is a sprint. And so as I
Right.
came through, I'm
Oh
like,
my
this
goodness.
is
You're
all I
like
got. But a guy in a canoe came by, or a kayak. I'm like, all right,
right.
I'm racing that guy. Sprint. I remember getting to the end, just like I just want my
Oh
chocolate.
my goodness.
Please give me my chocolate. And it was like, I think I ended up being like an hour past my goal because of the wind. I
Mhm.
think it was like
Yeah.
6.5 hours, or I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. It was six something, and
That's
I
rough.
wanted to be under 6 or whatever, but I'm like, whatever, finished it. But yeah, that was fun.
I think that's like yeah, the lesson with that too is like it gives you good mental endurance too, right?
100%.
Like
It's all mental. Yeah, and I
yeah,
was playing stuff in my head, like, you volunteered to be here. Don't, suck it up, don't be a wuss. Like,
right.
there's a million other people out here with you. They're in the same boat as you, and you're ahead
Yeah.
of some of them. So keep paddling,
Yeah, yeah. Keep
right?
paddling, keep
Yeah,
paddling.
keep paddling.
Keep swimming, yeah,
Yeah,
keep paddling. Oh my goodness, that's a good story. No, thank you
it's
for
fun.
sharing that. That was good.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never encountered waves like that when I was paddling.
It's
Just
it was
just
just
little
super
waves.
choppy. Yeah, people were wiping out. Yeah, it was.
Oh my
I think it was
goodness.
the worst year. People still talk about that year.
Yeah, they're like, "Remember back then?
Yeah. And
Remember that
sometimes you get
one?"
it nice and flat and the river's
Yeah,
flowing and warm. Yeah, it was,
yeah.
but
You're
whatever.
pro
And so now I find, going back to your question that you asked earlier,
yeah, yeah.
I can now coach you because I've done that. So
Yeah.
I've done all these races all over. I've done California, Florida,
Mhm,
all
mhm.
over the place, New York, wherever. I always find that if you want to coach somebody in something, you have to be able to do it. You don't have to win. You don't have to be the best
Mhm.
at it. But
No.
now I know all the things that you're going to go through. So let me help you. And a lot of the coaching is more on the mental side. We can do a lot more than we think we can. So
Yeah,
I'll teach you how to paddle. Then we're going to teach you how to hit the goal, whatever your goal happens to be.
yeah. My friend that's in fitness always says there's even when you think you're done, there's like actually 10% left in your tank or something
Actually,
or something like that.
the saying is you're at 40%. When
40%.
your mind
Okay.
gives up, you're at 40%. You got another
Okay.
60% that you can.
Wow. Okay, she was they were low.
Yeah. She might have been 10 more reps of something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the 40% rule. Your mind's going to give up at 40 when your body's at 40.
Right. Because 'cause you're like, "Okay, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I
This is
can't
horrible.
breathe."
You got to either embrace the suck or give in to the suck.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's what is so cool, like you talking to brands and coaches and people in the sports space on these podcasts is like you get to learn how much mental endurance there is in
Probably
sports.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's so much
Everybody works on
yeah,
the physical side, but
physical.
nobody
Mhm.
works on the mental side, and I've
Yeah.
been really kinda lucky and blessed. John Denny,
Mhm.
is a sports psychologist that has been part of the Paddle Fit group, and,
Okay.
for years and years and years, and I've been working with him, and he's worked with some of the top golfers, top surfers, and
Mhm.
it's been a mental grind more than
Yeah.
it's a physical grind once you get in there.
Yeah. I mean, and it's so, yeah, it's very eye-opening in the sense that, young kids today in sports, like, we gotta keep whatever you do, you keep people
You gotta
active,
lose.
keep moving, and
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta
You gotta
lose.
lose. Participation, man. No. You gotta
Mhm.
there's so much growth in
Yeah.
not making a goal that you had for yourself to go back and go, okay, what do I need to
Mhm.
look at? That isn't
Yes.
as much, yeah.
But do you lose, or do you learn?
Well,
I 'cause
you
I
lose in
feel
that
like
you learn, exactly, but
yes,
you
yeah.
lose in that moment in that game,
Mm, yeah,
right? Like, I don't like when, like, "Oh, everyone's winners." I was like, "No, that
mm,
team won, that team didn't."
yeah.
But let's take that loss and turn it
Mhm.
into a learn, and
Yes.
how do we come back and make it better?
Yeah, no, I love that saying. You either win or you learn kind of thing,
Yes,
right? But
100%.
but I love that. I love that part of it. Okay, so I also want to ask you a question. I ask this to a lot of guests, and it's just kind of a mind puzzler. What breaks your heart, the most in your industry right now? That's a
I
hard
would
one.
say the biggest thing that breaks my heart is I don't know if it's the control issues, the ego issues, is the fact that it's still splintered and it's the Wild West.
Mm,
And that hurts the professional level, the Olympic
mhm,
level. Like, I've watched it for all these years. I actually got out of the race world for a little bit because I just didn't
mhm.
like the politics of it. And I guess
Okay.
that's the best word, the
Yeah.
politics of who's going to be the one to have the proper world championship. So that right now we have like 3 world championships. There's no
Mhm.
other sport that has 3 world championships.
That's
When
pretty
you
good.
want to get to the Olympics, every Olympic sport has a clear goal. They have clear
Mhm,
coach. We don't even have a coaching, um, program for people to go, okay, I want to go to the Olympics. Okay, I need a level 1 coach here,
mhm.
a level 2 coach here, a level 3
Right.
coach here, and I need to go to this event, that event, this event, that event. They're just it's the whole disorganized part. There's a lot of people working really hard, and there's progress that you see for a year or so, and then it kind of regresses, and
Mhm.
then a little progress. People are
Okay.
still like stoked on the Olympics, and I'm telling you, it's never going to make it until the Olympics
Mm,
can recognize a direction for the sport. They're not going to care what happens in Oklahoma or Barrie or wherever. Like,
mhm.
throwing names that this is the world championship or this is a qualifying. There's no proper qualification system to get to the higher levels, which hurts
Right.
people that really want to aspire to be professional level athletes.
Mhm. Crap. So who do you have to knock on doors for that? Like, how can you get that system in place where you guys can have that?
I'm not sure, but there's a lot of people working pretty hard. I'm
Mhm.
now working with some people that have done that exact same thing in the triathlon world.
Okay.
But one of the things that you probably didn't even know is I'm starting a race series this year.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so
Very
that's
cool.
that's all new, and it's
Ooh.
gonna be at a place called C3 in
Okay.
Caledon. All the races
Okay.
are gonna be there. They've developed an amazing triathlon program over 25 years. The head coach at C3, Barry Shepley, has been to he might misquote 9 Olympics, 7 or 9 Olympics on the triathlon side. And we've been building a program over there with them for the last 3 years in the stand-up paddle world. And it's
Mhm.
actually progressed really well that we've started a race series that you should come down and check out
Yeah.
because we're
Okay.
making it all inclusive. There's no elite
Mhm.
pro this. They'll be there, but we're all
Okay.
gonna do our same race, and it's on an inland lake that doesn't
Yeah.
get too choppy,
We
right?
won't get 3-foot waves.
So you might get a little bit of waves, but not 3 foot like that. There's 2 ways to go with SUP. Going
Yeah.
back to your question, there's that pro level, Olympic level. There's a lot of hurdles and
Mhm.
stuff. A lot of great
Mhm.
people are working on it, and I'm you know excited about what's the potential to come. We're a long way
Yeah.
away, but we're working on
Takes
it.
time.
Or
Mhm.
the whole inclusive. I hate words like elite. I hate words like pro.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
unless you're in California or something, it's like beer league stuff here, and you're just kind of, hey, I'm a pro. But we're going to
Right.
have high level competitive athletes at our
Mhm.
races as well as beginners. And we're
Cool,
all going
okay.
to race the same race, and we're going to have a great time, and it's for everybody.
Oh, I love it. Okay. I'm gonna check that out with you for
That's
sure.
called Sup Nation Race Series.
Sup Nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a whole website. You can link, there's links on my website.
And what made you kind of start this? Like, were
Right.
you, or was it like you're just like you were sleeping at night and it came to you?
So, well, yeah, I kind of have an idea, but you go, what am I doing this for? Well, that's one of the last things in the sup world I've never really done. I've done
Mm,
events with other people,
yeah.
but I was never super happy with the kind of politics around the race scene in Ontario. So
Mm,
I kind of quit going there for a number of reasons a few years back. But I have some really great friends that started a race series a couple years back in South Carolina. So I
okay.
go down to their race events for the past 3 years, and they're so fun. And it's like,
Yeah.
we need this back here.
Yeah.
And working with C3, who has a lot of
Mhm.
competitive athletes, getting into SUP is really a lot easier on your body than running and
Mm.
stuff. So a lot of people are transitioning with injuries. They're so competitive, so they want to paddle. Not all the time.
Oh,
Some people just want
yeah.
to do it, but it
That's
is
true.
really good
Yeah.
for an aging athlete or stuff like that. So
Yeah.
working with them and having some people getting really excited about the racing, I want to try to teach them the right way to do it, the fun way. Not that there's ever a wrong way, but like
Mhm.
one that's inclusive, can have competitive, can have intro. So we did like kind of a trial last year, like a 3 or 4 Friday nights, and they really wanted to do a race series. So we decided to do that. And
Mhm.
the one that was kind of running in Ontario for last year decided they didn't want to do that anymore. So we're sort
Okay.
of the only race series around now by a bit of luck. We were doing it
Yeah.
regardless. But yeah, it was just I've been to a number of events, and so I took
Mhm.
all the amazing things from these events, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do a race series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got some great partners to help me with that as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I love it. I love the idea, you guys to take something that you
fun.
love and
It's about,
fun,
fun, the stoke of
community.
getting the community together. And sure, they're
Mhm.
gonna be competitive. They're gonna race whoever's around you. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna race against, a guy like Timmy O, who's one of the best racers. He's gonna be there, but he's gonna be way ahead. I'm gonna
Oh,
race,
yeah.
with Lewis or whatever beside me that you're gonna create your own
Yeah.
little group within the group
Mhm.
that like, hey, next week, hey, maybe I beat him. Right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's encouraging. And it gets people into the sport too.
Yep.
Just,
Yep.
people that are, just do it for fun, come out and then they get, more into it, right? That's how it
Exactly.
starts.
And we hope a lot of
Starts
people
to
that
start.
are first timers come out and do it. Like you want to do it in an inflatable? Go ahead.
Mhm.
You want
Yeah.
everybody, it's just gonna take you a while, but hey, next week you do it. And we're all gonna have all different, it's gonna be a 5K, then a sprint, then a technical, and it's just everyone's gonna do the same one.
So is it gonna be a 5K race or is it be
Each
different
each
races?
week that we do it, there's Sunday mornings. They're gonna be from
Mhm.
8 in the morning till noon, so it's not taking up your whole day.
Mhm.
And each week will be a different length or a different.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So our first
Build
one,
up.
June 1st, is a 5K.
Okay.
2 loops
That's
around the lake.
that's more doable.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Right. And then
Um,
the last one of the year that is in September. I believe there's 5 or 6. I could be wrong. The last one's a 10K. First one's a
okay.
5K, and then we'll have sprints, which are either 100 or 200 meters down, and you do
Okay.
3 heats, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to have technical where it's probably around a kilometer, but you're going out doing turns like that. Then we're going to have a relay
Oh,
one
fun.
with swimmers and paddlers. Then we're
Oh,
going to have
wow.
one, which is going to be our big one, July 25th to the 27th, where you're going to
Okay.
have sprints, technical, and a distance all 3 days in a row. Come for the whole
Oh,
week and have fun.
oh my goodness. Okay. In July. Okay, cool. Wow. You're gonna be busy this summer, huh?
Yeah. That's why I think, why am I doing this again? Every year throughout 15 years, the other piece of advice I could give to people, I've never done the same thing a year the next year. I've
The
always
next
tweaked it and,
right.
evolved with different
Mhm.
coaching. I run Ocean Academy, which is programmed by Candace Appleby out of California. Like, where else you gonna
Yes.
get California training by the best there ever was in the sport?
Yes.
winning wise. So we started that a couple years ago and people
Mhm.
love it. So it's just this
Yeah.
year, all right, we're gonna try a race series.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
It's always you don't wanna be bored, right? You wanna keep it fun and new
Well,
and
yeah, people do get bored and they're like they go off
yeah.
to do something else. So this is like let's keep
Mhm.
people excited, engaged in new things, whether it's a new board, from Dave or something like check it out. We're gonna use this board for this
Mhm.
race and all
Yeah.
make sure you evolve.
Yeah, always evolve. Always keep going forward, right?
Yeah.
Keep paddling forward.
Tyler,
All my
don't
puns.
stop. Keep moving.
Okay, that sounds really cool. I'm so happy that, you're doing that. I'm gonna really check it out and see what the dates are. But my next question, I was gonna ask about the Olympics, but I'm not going to anymore. I was gonna say, "Oh, do you think it'll be in the Olympics sometime soon?" But
Personally,
probably not.
personally, I would think you're at least 12 years away, if that,
Okay. Okay, so a good decade. All right.
for fun.
Well, that's okay. Well, hopefully you're wrong. Hopefully it's sooner. I hope it's sooner
Hopefully.
for all of the people that want to do it professionally. Um, so what do you see, I guess, well, I mean, we just said you're always evolving and you're always changing. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
Uh, Retiring? No
Okay.
joke. Yeah, yeah. I think I'll always be involved in it at some level. I'll probably always
Mm,
be kind of like a
yeah.
board sales guy.
Mhm.
I will always coach at that
Mhm.
kind of higher level, I'll always be around, but really probably 5 years. I would love to see the race series do really well and hand that
Mhm.
off to somebody.
Mhm.
And with paddle fit, going to do a little bit of a rebrand is sort of my goal to have people understand maybe it's a little more of a coaching system. It'd be
Yeah.
great to get that worldwide to
Mhm.
help with that, get to the Olympic level, to have like an international level of coaches, just like downhill ski.
Yeah.
You go to Blue
Yeah.
Mountain and you get a level 3 skier or a level
Mhm.
3 coach. It's just like going to like Europe and the same
Yeah.
qualifications. So I'd love to see that. I've talked to a few people
Absolutely.
about that is, the more we can do to get things on the same track, even with a coaching system or a racing system, maybe not system, but an actual,
Mhm.
pro tour. There's been splinters of it, So in the next
Mhm.
5 years, I hope to see that. They just announced one in Europe. So
Ooh.
that'd be good. But yeah, 5 years, consulting. I'll always be, yeah. Let me
I'll
know.
be here.
Here's all the stuff that I did before. Here's what really worked. Here's what didn't work so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 5 years, I'd like to be a consultant, coach, and still know
Mhm.
paddleboards
Yeah,
and
keep
watch
on.
it flourish. And get
Yes.
that international level
Mhm.
of education and
Mhm.
camaraderie and competition.
Yeah, no, I am sure you'll always have your toe or your foot in the
Yeah,
sub
I can't see
sub
people like, "You're gonna
space.
retire?" And I'm like, "Not really."
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna full-time grind it, but, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'll always be a sales guy.
Yeah, you love it. You love it to your core, and
Yeah,
that's why you are who you are.
yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So I guess what I want to ask next is kind of, what keeps you motivated in the industry and keeps you, pushing forward as a leader?
Well, because I can kinda see the benefits of what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even I'm like, "Okay, I've had enough of fighting with the
Hmm.
politics side and this side," but then it's like, "Well, who else is gonna do it?"
Right.
I don't there are lots of people doing it, but, like, around here, I've
Yeah.
got so many amazing clients and people that
Mhm.
I coach that love it, that it's like,
Mhm.
I'm getting up to make them better, and making
Yeah.
them better makes me better, because
Yeah.
I have to go, "Okay, I gotta go and keep my skills going. I gotta go to the gym and make sure I'm in
Mhm.
shape so that I can keep up with them," and so really, my clients is what keeps me going, and the stoke that they have and the enjoyment that they get out of competition or standing up,
Mhm.
just being part of a cool social community that like, "Hey, every
Yeah.
Saturday we paddle and then we have,
Yeah.
breakfast or whatever."
Yeah.
That's
It's
really
it,
the keeps going, the
it's
social part and the
yeah.
and the and the little goals that everybody has to be better, whatever better is for them.
Mhm. Well, I feel like you'd be such a great coach. I can't say personally, but like you are just such a down to earth guy, and
Come on anytime.
I know you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have to come and do one of the lessons. I'm,
For
I'm
sure.
not. I'm just like, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Not wait until I'm done. You're done with me, right? Um, but yeah, no, it's amazing to see that like how much like you've grown over the years and to hear your story. Um, I guess I'm just kind of curious in 2025 since you've worked and you've known a lot of the competitive professional SUP athletes.
Mhm.
Who do you think we should be watching right now? I know you mentioned Candace Appleby. Oh, Appleby, sorry.
Appleby. Yeah,
Appleby.
yeah, yeah. Candace is kind of retired now. I'm not
Is she
sure.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like she's
Oh
the
my
winningest
goodness.
of all time, but I think she's tired. So we've got Juliette Duhane.
Juliet, yes.
Yeah. Juliette
Mhm.
Duhane. Donato Friens.
Okay.
He's out of the Netherlands, I believe. Marie Carmen out of Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Arthur Arucan is still with us. They're ripping it pretty good. Itzel Delgado used to
Nice.
be on the Speed Freaks. I'm not sure who he's doing, but he's
Mhm.
really coming up now. Michael Booth is still around, still doing stuff. Yeah, those are probably the names off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good. I would.
The European scene's a lot bigger.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Aspen,
that's okay.
Duna Goldina. Yeah, yeah.
In 10 years, when we get to the Olympics, we're gonna have a core team in here in Canada.
Well, that's the other thing about getting to the Olympics where I should have touched on that as well.
Mm,
We don't have a lot of youth programs over here. We need
okay.
youth to be getting into the sport to push it to
Yeah.
that level. And that's
Right.
something we're working on at C3 as well. There's
Yes.
going to be a summer camp that's including paddleboarding, and we're working on a youth program. There's a lot of that going over in Europe
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the people for the next Olympics, we might not know their names yet.
We don't know. They haven't got on their paddleboard yet, probably.
Right. Or they are, and you know, there's some
You got-
pretty there's some pretty good juniors that
Okay.
are down in Florida, and yeah, I know the U.S. I'm really close with a lot of people that are working with the U.S. team
Yeah.
as well, and
Mhm.
they got a pretty good youth program going. And
Okay.
Cam Carney, who's one of
Yeah.
our Canadian paddlers from actually near you, King Carden,
Oh,
up up
great.
up that way. Yeah,
Oh,
I think he's going to be probably pretty good. He's good now.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's exciting. Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. We have to start them young and
Yeah,
teach them and get them on the boards, right?
for sure.
Um, okay, that's really great. I love to ask this question just because what I do, but what are you doing with video wise right now? To I
I'm
know
not
I
the video
wonder.
guy.
Are you a video guy? I
I'm
know we
not
I
the
know we talked
social
about.
media. Self-confession, I've fallen off the social media. Not great.
Okay.
I do some. I try to share stuff. That's
Yeah.
definitely something that I know you and I have talked. It's just the finances aren't there for me to
Mm,
hire somebody, which means I got to do
right.
it myself, which means I'm not good. And it's
Yeah.
probably being a little bit neglected. 100% confession there.
All right. Well,
But this is gonna help. When you
I
said you wanna
believe
do a
in you.
video, I'm like, yeah,
I believe in you. Okay, Brent. Okay, well, that's kind of, the end of my questions. I feel like we covered a lot of stuff.
you did. Yeah,
Is there,
that was a big
yeah, I
bunch of
tried.
years.
Yeah, I tried to cover the whole map, right?
Yep.
But is there anything else like that you want to add? Something that we missed
I
there?
think we covered it. Yeah, if anybody's looking to try it, to move
Yeah.
up, to learn, to do anything, go on
Mhm.
northernsub.com and hit us up.
Yes.
Please come out and at least check out the races. It's gonna be fun. We're
Mhm.
gonna have
Mhm.
probably a food truck and a bunch of other stuff there. If you don't wanna race the first time,
Mhm.
just come on out and cheer the people that are racing, and maybe you'll wanna do it next time. So that's gonna be really fun this year, and, yeah, just come on out and try
Amazing.
it.
I'm so excited for that. I'm gonna check it out. Okay, so if they want to find you, they can just go on Northern
Yeah,
SUP.
northernsub.com.
Okay.
Everything basically, there's links to everywhere on there. Whether you want to buy a board with Infinity Sup
Mhm.
Canada's on there. The Sup Nation links are on there. Easiest is northernsup.com.
Awesome. Okay, well, great. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Brent,
thank
for
you.
coming
Thanks for having me.
on.
I'm like, I don't know what we're doing, but yeah.
Just talking with
I
Caroline,
believe
you
you.
know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a nice afternoon, you know. Who wants to be outside in the snow anyways,
I
right?
know. Last week it was like 22 degrees here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. For the people that are not in Canada, they'll be like, "Oh, snow? What
Yeah,
are you guys
it's
talking
like
about?"
mid spring.
Fake spring. We have fake spring all the time in Canada, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So thank you guys for joining us on the Beyond Reach podcast. Please follow the show, you know, on Spotify and YouTube to, you know, not miss a beat. We'd love to hear you
What is it?
next time.
Subscribe and like. Subscribe
right.
and like. Subscribe
That's right.
here. Like
That's
over
right.
here.
Bam, bam, bam. That's where we want it, guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll catch you next time for our next episode as, you know, we uncover stories of people and brands that inspire us, innovate, explore, and empower us all. Let's go beyond reach together. And everyone have a great day. I'll see you next time.
See ya.